Good evening and happy Friday. Hey everyone, Darrell here from the Central Oregon Daily Weather Center, and we are wrapping up this work week with gorgeous conditions. Now, through this Mother's Day weekend, we are expecting another bump in temperatures, and with that next warm up, we're going to be back into the 80s across the high desert. Now, today, winds have been gusty. Good news, though, is because of a weak front that rolled through earlier this morning, our relative humidity was a little more moderate, not as critically dry. So, even with stronger winds, it actually set us up for firefighters to make some really good progress on the Pine Mountain fire. Now, we're going to be talking about that as well as everything else you need to know going forward through the next couple of days. So let's do it. It is time for today's deep dive into your most reliable forecast. I am Darrell Winninger, Chief Meteorologist at Central Oregon Daily News, and right now across Central Oregon we have tons of sunshine, a little bit of haze, and no rain in sight. Now, when we just look at the general setup across the high desert, right now the cold front that pushed through Central Oregon earlier today, the one that brought more clouds, not much in the way of precipitation, that's currently over Idaho, high pressures building into the region. This high is going to act as a blocking high, making sure that that cold front off to our west doesn't really make landfall right away. It's going to take a little bit. Now, it's still going to be unseasonably warm. Today's weak front did bring some modest and brief cooling, and highs are in the 70s. By tomorrow, we're back into the 80s and well into the 80s, with some ups and downs still yet to come. Some of that is going to be on Mother's Day. We do get another dip in temperatures, still 70s and 80s though. But little to no rain is in sight, not even with our Mother's Day system. That one isn't going to bring much in the way of precipitation either. So let's talk a little bit more about the Pine Mountain fire. Now, we're going to start off with some cameras. These are both cameras that are out at Pine Mountain. You can actually see some fire retardant dried on the lens of the cameras, or really on the globe, not quite the lens. But what we do see is that burn scar off into the distance on the camera that's off to the left. Now, we do have very little in the way of billowing smoke like we did yesterday, but you can see a few hot spots out there. Now, going forward, the next few days, we're not going to see too much movement on this if everything holds the way it is right now. And here's what we know at this moment. Earlier this morning, the Central Oregon Interagency Dispatch Center told us that the estimated size is now at 2,483 acres. And as of earlier today, it was 15% contained. I know that says 0% contained, but that's what it was at. It looks like the incident personnel is at 176, and this is a Type 3 incident, which means more support is available because of the type and the fact that it transitioned from a prescribed burn to a wildfire. Now, this is mostly on the southern flank of Pine Mountain. I've just put an arrow to show you which way Bend is, but you can, the colors on the map right there, that is the fire tracking software that we have here in the Central Oregon Daily Weather Center. Now, typically, if it burned today, it would have been red. That darker yellow color, that more of a golder color, that is, or amber, if you will, that is what happened yesterday, and getting into the yellow is the day before. And so what we know is that through today, we have not seen much activity from this fire. Now, when it comes to the forecast, today we've had a northwest wind 10 to 20 miles per hour, gusting of 30 plus. That should actually be 36 plus. I've seen some gusts that high, just not out of Pine Mountain. Now, lows tonight are going, lows this morning were in the 40s and 30s. It's also going to be 40s and 30s tonight. Highs today, 70s. Now, it is still dry, just not as dry as it was the last couple of days. And this fire is, again, on the southern flank of Pine Mountain, and it's located about 22 miles to our southeast, or really to the southeast of not landfall. That's just where I started that measurement. Now, by tomorrow, we are looking at another dry day, and temperatures are warming up, allowing that humidity to get even lower. Only a little bit of in and out PM clouds are expected, and mostly sunshine is in the forecast as well. And keep in mind, on these graphics that I've been showing you, all those little flames are satellite-derived hotspots. But the good news is we just haven't seen much movement today. All of those are from yesterday. Now, when it comes to air quality, we're sitting in the green. Good air quality across Central Oregon. Remember, most of our winds are out of the northwest, and it is breezy. It is gusty, so that's just pushing that smoke out of Central Oregon. Even when we look at the Purple Air Network, we do not see much other than good air quality. quality throughout central Oregon. There are a couple sensors that are outliers, but for the most part, most of that smoke is over Klamath and Lake counties, and that's smoke not just from the Pine Mountain fire, but a couple others across the state as well. Now, here through tonight, this starts to impact us in a different way because winds taper off through the next several hours. I'll show you a wind forecast model here in a few minutes, but winds taper off through the evening hours. They swing back around to the south. Now, they stay at a gentle breeze, but they stay out of the south through most of the night. And what that means for us is some of this smoke after midnight starts to drift back into central Oregon. And at first, it's not going to be too bad, but as we go forward through the day with that light breeze tomorrow, it's not really going to kick the smoke around anymore until we get to the afternoon and evening hours. That means that we could be looking at periods of reduced, maybe even poor air quality. Most of that smoke will be coming from the Pine Mountain fire. That was a prescribed burn that got out of its boundaries. Now, by Mother's Day, we're not looking at too bad of smoke, but we could be looking at more periods of reduced air quality, especially in the morning. Now, when it comes to cameras, traffic cameras across central Oregon, we have dry roads. They've been dry, even with that weak front that pushed through earlier today. Now, when it comes to the Cascade Passes, dry roads, and not even any snow on the side anymore. But anyways, when we look at satellite and radar, we do see that this system is well out to our east, mostly over Idaho, just a few lingering clouds and no precipitation in sight. But going through the day tomorrow, we're staying mostly sunny. In fact, very little cloud cover until we get to the afternoon and evening hours, but temperatures, let me go back. Look at this. Temperatures start off near 40 degrees, so 30s and 40s for lows. By the afternoon, under this abundant sunshine, we're looking at highs well into the 80s, and those 80s put us well above average again. Even today, with that dip in temperatures, we were still running unseasonably warm, just not as warm as it has been most of this week, but we're going to get back there. Back into the 80s. Now, when it comes to enhanced satellite imagery, we do not see too much that's causing us any concern. Further out over the Pacific Ocean, this broad ridge of high pressure is the driving force of our weather pattern through the next couple days. There's a little bit of cloud cover just off the Oregon and California coastline. Now, that is going to roll through the high desert tonight, but really we're just talking some light clouds, so not much. And then by the time we get to Saturday evening, a few clouds are possible. Watch this though. Sunday's that next system, and all it's going to bring is some in and out clouds. This specific high resolution forecast model doesn't even show a chance of rain. The other ones that I'm going to show you here through the next few minutes do show a few sprinkles, but I'm just not buying that all of it's going to be reaching the ground. And as of right now, dry, but not critically dry for most of the high desert. Now, high temperatures in the last 24 hours, mostly in the 70s with a few 80s and 60s. Some of those are holdovers from yesterday. And actual temperatures right here, right now, sitting in the 70s with 60s on the east slopes of the Cascades and even 59 up at the Pine Mountain Observatory. But we do have 62 in Sister, 64 in Sun River, and 67 in Lapine, also 72 in Bend, Redmond, Madras, and Prineville, 71 in Paulina, and 76 degrees in Warm Springs. That means collectively we are running between 2 and 8 degrees cooler than we were just 24 hours ago. Now through tonight, it gets a little on the chilly side. We'll call it cool because we're getting into the 30s briefly. Some 40s are possible, but then tomorrow we heat right back up. That warmth comes back in and we really heat up, but we slow down on Sunday and then heat back up even more Monday and Tuesday. So here's how it plays out. Through Saturday, we're looking at highs in the 80s. More sunshine, few PM clouds, just warmer altogether. By Sunday, we have that weak system rolling through. And what we actually see with this forecast model is, do you see this little lobe right here? We had that ridge of high pressure that was just a dome over the area. And then this little shortwave trough comes in. And that's what brings us the in and out clouds. Then that gets replaced by a high pressure that's going to build even more until we get into the midweek. By midweek next week, that's when we get the next real shift in our weather pattern. Between now and then, it's just some bumps. We're looking at some roller coaster temperatures, still above average for this time of the year, still 80s and 70s, not much in the way of precipitation all the way through Monday. And so with that next big warm-up, Monday and Tuesday, temperatures warm into the mid to upper 80s, even some 90s possible, and then we get a sharp drop in temperatures between Tuesday and Wednesday, and that's just the beginning of a cool down that continues into Thursday and Friday, and that's going to be our next system. So let's look at it. I think we're going to have to wait till we get to the long-range forecast model, but between now and then, we do have, well, not much, until Sunday, and with Sunday, this specific model shows a few sprinkles at best. Winds do get breezy. We get that slight dip in temperatures, very similar to today, just not as drastic of a drop in temperatures as we had today. Even today wasn't too impressive, but it's going to be less on Sunday. Then by Tuesday, we're bringing the heat. And so we do have to go to the next one. Okay, so this is the long-range forecast model. Not as high of resolution, but goes out a lot further and helps paint a picture of what's going to happen down the road. So freeze frame, Tuesday, sunshine, no rain in sight. By Wednesday, that next system starts to roll in, and we're talking some PM showers are going to be possible. Low chance of thunderstorm activity, but there's a chance. And then by Thursday, a few more showers. Get that clearing. Now that is going to be the next system that really brings a big shift in our weather pattern. So between now and Monday at 11 p.m., nada, no rain in sight. Maybe a few sprinkles in the highest elevations on Sunday. Most of us stay dry. Then by Thursday, most of us will have at least gotten some showers. Now for some of us, this is just going to be sprinkles, but it's also going to be breezy, and you get that bigger dip in temperatures. Now, wind gusts here in the last 30 minutes or so have mostly been between 20 and 30 miles per hour. Actual wind speeds are more like 10 to 15 miles per hour, all out of the northwest. Now, we are still breezy through this evening. Now, by tonight, we have tapering winds. Watch this, though. A light breeze is expected. Well, a gentle breeze overnight, and a light breeze through the day tomorrow. We're talking 2 to 12 miles per hour. By Sunday, wind speeds pick back up for between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. So during the afternoon and evening hours, just before sunset, right around sunset, we really start to see tapering winds. Before tonight, we're talking 40s and some 30s. Saturday, we're talking 80s across central Oregon. And then ups and downs in temperatures continue. We really crank up the heat Monday and Tuesday. By Wednesday, we get that next system. Wednesday and Thursday is when we're looking at some potential of showers. Low chance of thunderstorm activity. Winds get breezy, but look at that. We're going from 88 to 71 in just a couple of days. So nearly 90 to almost 70. Now, here across Central Oregon, not all of us, actually, to be honest, there are so many different changes that are happening in that 72-hour stretch. Some forecast models are actually bringing us well into the 60s. Others are keeping us in the 80s. So we're going to really start to find out what's going to happen by Thursday once we get through this weekend and get into early next week. But as we go forward, sorry, I bumped the mic. As we go forward, the warmth rebuilds quickly across the high desert. Some breezy afternoons are expected, and we stay very dry until next week. Even with that system next week, it doesn't look like a huge impact precipitation-wise, but some of us are going to get wet. We get stronger winds, and then we get that cool down. So when it comes to satellite and radar, we just have some light clouds out there and no precipitation in sight. Just a recap for you. Going past the 7-day planner, temperatures level out. We're going to be closer to average for this time of the year, and we're actually looking at the chance of some rain. Now, that is the latest in weather. Join us tonight on Central Oregon Daily News. We'll be live at 6, again at 7, and then at 11 o'clock on ABC and CBS. We'll see you then.